amazing information for you.
Wonderful. So as Linda mentioned, you should see that we are recording this webinar now, and I will be asking Linda and Lance, if you don't mind, to please be helping me with the chat and questions that do come through. So good morning, hello, and welcome to everybody. My name is Amy Kleber. I am so excited to be here with you today to talk about math in the K-5 classroom and how we can integrate financial education and math in a really beautiful way to serve our students. I'd like to just start with a land acknowledgement, if I could. If you would like to, and you know the lands that you are coming from today, and you'd like to drop that in the chat, we absolutely encourage that. But I would just start with a land acknowledgement that I am using in good faith from the Spokane City Council, acknowledging that I am on the unceded lands of the Spokane people, and that these lands were once the major training center for the Spokanes as they shared this place and welcomed other area tribes through their relations, history, trade, and ceremony. I also want to acknowledge that the land holds the spirit of the place through its knowledge, cultures, and all the original peoples since time immemorial. So I'd love to start this morning by introducing myself a little bit. My name is, again, Amy Kleber. My title is the Elementary Program Supervisor here at the Financial Education Public-Private Partnership. I was born and raised here in Spokane, Washington, where I'm coming from today. I just moved back to the area, actually, after 7 years in Arizona, where I taught 5th grade and 7th grade math in Glendale. Excuse me, I am a classroom educator by experience. I got my master's in education back here in University of Washington, here in the Spokane area, Cheney. I don't know if we have any Eagles in here. So my classroom experience actually started in Spain. I was able to participate in a program where I was a conversation assistant, working through the Spanish government to help increase the level of English speaking within their elementary schools. Loved it. Did my student teaching in Post Falls, Idaho. And then, like I said, moved to Arizona, where I was in the 5th grade classroom. And again, 7th grade math, social studies, and social emotional learning. Couple of things I really focused on down there. I had a high population of English language learners and English as a second language learners within a Title I community. So really making sure that we were tailoring our instruction to really meet the specific needs of our community. You'll find that also reflected in our mission here at FEPPP. We are dedicated to providing resources that meet the needs of historically underserved student populations, which we'll touch on in a little bit. I also spent 5 years doing what we called our induction program down there, which was our new teacher introduction program. So I did 5 years of peer-to-peer coaching, really helping new teachers acclimate to not only our site and district, but just the first year of teaching in general. And I mentioned that because I want to say I've been to a lot of these PDs, I put on a lot of these PDs, and I really do try to bring a very teacher-centered approach to this. I promise I won't just sit here and read you verbatim what's on the screen. And I really want to make this worth your time. Again, I recognize that this is your summer and you're here for an hour and a half on a morning at 9 a.m., which again means you're just as excited to talk about this as I am. And who doesn't like to be around like-minded people? But also I very much recognize how valuable your time is as an educator and in education. And so I really hope that everything you'll find here will be extremely useful and very no prep or low prep. Outside of work, I've successfully made coffee a pretty significant part of my personality, enough that I list it as something that I'm into. I also love true crime podcasts. I'm a weirdo like that. Just started gardening this year, and that is my latest just obsession. I'm already excited for next spring. And I'm a devoted fur mama to the little critters you see there on this screen, 2 cats and my pup, Oso. So a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. You have an outline over on the left on the areas we're going to really focus on. First part is going to be looking at sort of the standards-based connection between math and financial education. We actually have a set of financial education standards in Washington State, and they really do align very well with the math concepts that we know you're instructing in the classroom. However, we'll touch on the fact that this is not me coming in and telling you, here's another set of standards to teach. Please know I would not do that. Again, I've been in your shoes and I know how busy elementary educators are. We're also going to really dig into resources. So there is going to be quite a bit of just me talking and explaining different resources that you're going to receive in multiple ways after this webinar. And we're also going to talk about specific strategies that I utilize in the classroom, mostly in small group settings, but also you can use them whole group as well, but just different strategies that I was able to find some success with that I wanted to share. So I want to tell you a little bit about FEPPP and who we are and what we do. Again, financial education, public-private partnership, if you're not familiar with us. It's a mouthful, but we're here and we're awesome. We were created by legislative mandate to
Amy, I think you're frozen on our side.
He's frozen on my side.
public that we have reviewed. Want to make sure I could tell
Okay.
I there for a second.
You're
You just
back.
came back.
Okay,
Yay!
thank you so much, everybody. I apologize. Where did I end off? Just so I don't repeat myself too much, Linda, or
You finished off with how big of a mouthful that FEPPP was.
oh, excellent. So we were created by legislative mandate to bring together public and private stakeholders with an overarching goal of increasing access to equitable financial education in the K-12, across K-12. And our real strategy for doing this is by providing quality professional development, like you're here today to experience, and then reviewed instructional materials, lessons, activities, again, which we're going to go over today, that will really help increase our students' overall understanding of some of these personal finance skills. We're fairly new, as you can see from our timeline there today, but I can also say that it's really been within the last decade or so that financial education is becoming very popular. And it's because we're seeing such a need for it. We have just a couple of statistics here. I know people are joining us from all over, so I am going to read just a couple. In Washington State, we're owning $28 billion in total student loan debt compared to 1.6 trillion across the nation. So that's just one very specific, very, in the news discussion area now, why we want to be preparing our kids to make financial decisions in the future, responsible financial decisions that make sense to their lives. Clearly, a lot of these people took out these loans without a plan for how paying it back was going to integrate into their financial life. And that's one thing we really want to be able to influence here at FEPPP. So again, our approach is very cross-curricular. In a moment, we are going to take a look at the standards, but we really believe that financial education is the center of that Venn diagram that overlaps math, social studies, social emotional learning, which we're going to talk about later, and even that ELA space. So while we are going to talk about some standards here, again, I'm going to show you the ways that these standards overlap and the areas of opportunity that exist within the grade level standards that you are already teaching. Last thing I just want to touch on is that we have research showing that the kids who benefit the most from these kind of lessons are those students in historically disadvantaged categories. We're looking at our special population students who come from maybe are experiencing homelessness, in the foster care system, our Native youth, our migrant youth, our students who are dual language or multi-language learners who historically face barriers to achieve or access this same type of quality information. We can see from research from NEFI that they really benefit from this. So that's another reason why you're going to see these resources really through that lens as we have collected them. We really kept that top of mind.